A 15-year-old boy has been arrested on suspicion of a racially aggravated public order offence in connection with a tweet sent to Rio Ferdinand during the Manchester derby.
The PFA plan to extend cultural awareness courses to senior players and coaches, including those coming from overseas.
The Manchester City midfielder Gareth Barry has been charged by the FA for his behaviour towards a match official after Sunday's game.
The ship board is waiting for the results of a scan on his heel to see if he can captain England in the T20 internationals against India.
Let's get more now on the comments made by the PFA Chief Executive Gordon Taylor that nets should be placed around football pitches to try and protect the players. Gordon Taylor, of course, speaking after Rio Ferdinand was hit by a missile from the crowd in Sunday's game and also approached by a fan on the pitch. Joining us live now is Paul Hawkins, a sports net supplier. Paul, a very good afternoon to you as you broadly welcome Gordon Taylor's proposal.
Good afternoon.
Do you broadly welcome Gordon Taylor's proposal then for nets to be introduced at football stadiums?
Yes, I do. Obviously, the nets would actually protect the players more than anything, which is the main safety at the end of the day.
How would it affect, though, the stadium experience for watching on fans? Is that where the main problem is going to be? How you still make it an enjoyable experience, one which they can enter and watch the drama happening in front of them, while still protecting the players? Is the compromise between those two things the problem?
I think, really, obviously, you've got to think about the safety of the players today. And obviously, with the nets there is a safety. And obviously, OK, would it restrict the viewing of the game? I don't think it would, actually. I think I have a sample here of some safety netting, which is 100mm square. Now, obviously, that would protect the footballs, but you could chuck a pound coin through there, a 50p coin and a 20p coin. But if you did an instalment of a 28mm square netting, which you could still see the game, and obviously you could also protect the players. If you take a pound coin, which is that size, that's got to go through that hole at quite a bit of a distance. If it hits the side, the pound coin wouldn't go through, OK? But bear in mind, even a 20p would still go through, but obviously you've got to be that precise to chuck it through the hole. You've got to get it exact. The chance of that going through is only about 10% at a distance. I think that would be an ideal 28mm square netting to go behind the goals to stop anything being thrown at the players.
Is that size of netting the smallest you can go without the spectator's view being impaired any further than it already is?
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, I'll repeat it again, Paul. I think we're having some problems with you hearing us down the other end, so we'll just try this once more. Is that a smaller mesh netting you can go without the viewers, the spectators' view being impaired any further than it already is going to be if you impose a net at stadiums?
It would restrict the view. It wouldn't restrict the viewing that much, especially behind goals. Obviously, you've got a net there, and obviously you won't need it close, right up against the players. So I don't think the restriction would actually be a problem. It would be more than safety as well, really, for the players as well.
What about the issue if somebody needs to get out of the stands or into the stands? Say someone needs to be treated in the stands, you've got nets around the stadium or nets behind each goal. How does that affect it? Where it's used in places like, of course, the Bundesliga, how do they get around those particular problems? What safety factors are introduced to make sure that while you're protecting the players, you're also protecting the spectators?
Yeah, you are actually, definitely. You do need the nets behind the goals, obviously, and towards probably. I think the best option is each end of the pitch, obviously behind the goals. Obviously, you wouldn't need it all the way round, it'd just be behind the goals. But obviously, you've still got the chance of one of the people in the crowd still chucking a pound coin or coins at the players. But the likelihood of more chance of it happening behind the goals when they scored than it is to each side of the pitch.
What would be the cost to a football club of installing nets right the way around the pitch, roughly?
Can you repeat that question again?
I was just wondering what the cost would be, roughly. Obviously, each stadium size differs. What roughly the cost is to introduce netting right the way round a football stadium?
The cost for netting all the way around the stadium, you're looking around a figure of around between £20,000 and £30,000. But obviously, you would only really need it at each end of where the goals are. So obviously, the cost will be reduced by quite a bit.
Well, Paul, it seems a little bit like someone stuffed a net in our satellite link. I think we're going to have to leave it there. But thanks ever so much for your time this afternoon.
OK, thanks so much.
Fascinating stuff. Now, more on tonight's Premier League game at the stadium.